So the long-awaited Final Smash character DLC has finally been revealed to us, as we had the final Sakurai Presents earlier this morning on Tuesday, October 5th, and I want to share my opinions around Sora being the final character added to the Smash roster. Then I also want to update you guys on the huge announcement that came after that, and that is the fact that we are going to get all of the Kingdom Hearts games playable on the Nintendo Switch, with one huge caveat that I really want to dive into. Then I want to transition the conversation into a big discussion around the fact that the Nintendo Switch OLED dock is indeed 4K capable, and what this could mean for the future of Nintendo Switch systems. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Summer Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. As I mentioned, guys, we're covering a couple different stories today. The first of which I want to start off with is the brand new information that we have around the final Smash character DLC, as obviously we have the official announcement that Sora will be making his way into Smash. And it's crazy, but that means that that 4chan leak from the anonymous user was completely true, and we did talk about that here on the channel. And sure enough, the dude did work for Disney's music department, and Nintendo was asking for rights to Kingdom Hearts music. So that was an incredible, to look back on the fact that he called out the October 5th date, and it was indeed true, as a lot of fans still really thought that it wasn't going to be Sora leading into this event. And obviously, while you cannot keep all of these Smash fans happy with the final reveal, I personally think that this is a fantastic send-off for the series. I don't know if I'm the only one who got like borderline emotional whenever that final trailer started playing, because like it is an incredible accomplishment that Sakurai has done here as far as his overall life's work, kind of final achievement on this development of Smash Ultimate, which definitely lives up to his name. And if you think about how long we've seen support for this game and new fighters continue to be added in, it was a very exciting conclusion to what has been years and years of anticipation, and really just enjoying a game that continues to live on in development, which was a very cool thing to see. And it's really the first time that Nintendo has ever actually put out a title like this that sees continuous DLC over the course of time. As Nintendo has never really been a DLC focused company. It's always been an afterthought for them, and Sakurai really went out on his own and continued to support this game years and years after its actual release. And it is a sad day to see it go, and it's definitely bittersweet that we're not going to have any other Sakurai Presents to look forward to, as he did reiterate that this will be the last reveal for Smash Ultimate, and I'm pretty sure he deserves a super long break at this point. He even talked about how eventually when you keep working at something, it will be complete one day. And that was again, one of those like borderline emotional lines for me. I was like, man, it is crazy the amount of love, sweat, and tears that this guy has poured into this franchise, and he definitely deserves all the time in the world to go do whatever he wants for the foreseeable future. I definitely hope that we get future Smash Bros releases on other consoles as we go forward into new generations of Nintendo hardware. But I do personally believe that Smash Ultimate will be the staple Smash Bros games for the foreseeable future, and until Sakurai either decides to dive back in, or Nintendo hire somebody else to pass the buck to continue development of a future project, this is going to be a good send-off for this game. And I cannot wait to actually pick up and play with Sora, as I just think that his mechanics and his move set and how he plays is a perfect addition to the Smash roster. And it was even really cool the fact that they went out and mentioned the fact that they actually took poll votes from people on characters that they wanted to see added into Smash way back in the day for the 3DS and the Wii U releases of those games. And I kind of completely forgot that they actually did that until they mentioned it in this event. And sure enough, Sora was the #1 requested character. So Sakurai did everything in his power to please as many fans as possible. And I do think that this is a great send-off for the series, and I will definitely be excited to check out Sora's movesets hands-on once we do get him added into the DLC pool. Now, we also got some Mii Fighter costumes, which was cool. The one that stuck out to me was Doomslayer, because that was another one that I saw a bunch of fans actually commenting on, saying that they wanted to see him added in as the final character. And while I do think that that would have been a great addition as well, at least we are getting him as a Mii Fighter, and I think it's a really cool fit. And I love the music soundtracks that are going to come along with it. Like, Doom is just second to none for classic video game, like metal style soundtracks like I like. So I'm very pumped for these announcements. I thought it was a great presentation overall. It was obviously a 40-minute long event, so there was plenty to dive through, and you can definitely go check it out if you want to see more of the specifics of how Sora will play and control while we're waiting on him to be added into the DLC as far as being available to purchase. But from there, I do want to pivot the conversation around the big announcement that followed that, which is the fact that we are getting all of the Kingdom Hearts games actually added to the Nintendo Switch, with a huge caveat, because if you guys didn't read the bottom of the announcement, these are cloud ports of the games. And while I do think that cloud gaming definitely has a bright future, it is not there yet. And I don't know where you guys live and what your internet speeds and latency is like. I mean, here in the US, at least in the middle part of the US and the central part where I'm at, the internet latency speeds are not there yet for you to not notice lag to play on these cloud versions of the games. Like, is it playable? Yes, but is it fully enjoyable the way that you would want to? No. And I think it's going to be like that for a lot of people for the foreseeable future. And then you also have to have the conversation that the Switch is definitely a hybrid system, and you may want to play some of the cloud games on the go, and it's like, good luck doing that if you're out and about playing somewhere, because you have to have a blazing fast internet connection speed with very impressive low latency to be able to fully enjoy these games. And you know, you can have the conversation that, of course, Kingdom Hearts 3 is probably graphically too demanding for the Nintendo Switch, and they would have had to go in and put a lot of work into that title to actually downgrade it to where the Switch could run it. But the other games would have been a simple native port. And the big problem that I see with this from a development standpoint is, if there's one game that can't be run on the Switch, it's an easy way out for the developer to say, well, we couldn't run Kingdom Hearts 3, so we decided to do all of them as cloud versions, as opposed to if the Switch was powerful enough to at least run Kingdom Hearts 3 like a PS4 or Xbox One can, you know, the previous gen consoles. Like, if we at least had something like a Pro revision, this would be the perfect type of collection pack to come over as a Pro exclusive and something that can actually run natively on the hardware. But when the hardware isn't even powerful enough to power one of the main games, which is Kingdom Hearts 3, and of course that's their most recent release, I feel like it gives the developers an easy way out to say, well, at least we're giving them to you guys, but they will be cloud versions for all of them, as opposed to doing some of them native and leaving 3 as the only cloud version. So it's kind of a lazy way out, in my opinion. I am happy that we have the ability to play these on the Switch, but I do think that that cloud announcement being along with it takes away from a lot of the hype that we would have seen fans, you know, personally express for these ports coming over if they were actually native on the Switch. And that's where I really want to hear from you guys on, because if you are a fan of Kingdom Hearts, the series overall, I really got exposed to it from 3, and then I went back and played the previous ones because I actually did not own a PS2 back in the day. I just knew a bunch of friends that had it, and they would always tout it up as one of the best action RPGs, and sure enough, it is. But you know, I was newer to the series as I played through 3, and then I went back and played through the other ones, and I think they're all fantastic, and I do think it's a perfect fit for the Nintendo Switch audience. But you know, here we are with the fact that only cloud is supported, and I would love to hear, you know, your guys' thoughts around that. Does it take away some of the hype? Do you think that it's just Square Enix doing lazy ports, or do you kind of think what I think, which is the fact that we are clearly going to need to see the Switch get some kind of hardware upgrade in the foreseeable future for games to be able to be run on this platform? Because, you know, Nintendo loves to just do Nintendo things, and their first party lineups are incredible, but we are going to be fastly approaching a point in time where third party companies will just simply not be able to run their newer games on Nintendo Switch hardware, as it has a Tegra X1 from 2015 powering the graphics of this overall system. So that's kind of my take on it. I definitely want to hear from you guys on it. I do think that this is good news overall. Super happy with Sora being added into Smash. Love the music, love the stages, everything about that. And then I'm bittersweet on this Kingdom Hearts announcement, just for the simple fact that I wish that Square Enix would give us at least the old games natively, and then maybe just say 3 is the one exception that has to run cloud-based. Or again, if we had a Pro model, we could probably have 3 running on the system with no hiccups and no problems. But I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below on all your thoughts and opinions around the Sakurai Presents and all of the announcements when it comes to Sora and Kingdom Hearts being added to the Nintendo Switch. Now from there, I want to shift the conversation kind of in a related story to what we were just talking about, which is the fact that, you know, we are starting to see some issues with the Switch not being powerful enough, and we may have some good news to look forward to, at least for future revisions, or maybe even the next generation of what Nintendo is planning with the Switch lineup. And that comes with the fact that there has recently been a discovery that I've been waiting on for a long time. I've been waiting for a video to finally drop that shows somebody opening the dock and looking at if there are new chips inside of there, because I was personally curious about this since we saw the OLED model announced. Because why did they give us a new dock with a new LAN port when it's only new for the LAN port? Like, it didn't make a lot of sense to do a full dock revision unless if you just wanted it visually done, unless if there was going to be a purpose for this dock going forward. And we even saw Nintendo start to discontinue or not have stock of their OG dock from the original Switch. So it was an interesting pivotal timetable, especially when we were seeing things like the 4K report suggested from Bloomberg, and a lot of people thought maybe this dock is capable of upscaling to 4K. And while it doesn't look like it'll happen on this initial Switch OLED, the dock itself can do it. And I want to start off by giving a shout out to Nintendo Prime, as he posted the video of this teardown and answered some major questions that we have all been asking. And I will have a link down to that video in the description below. Make sure you guys check out his channel. He is another great Nintendo news source out there on YouTube. So with that, guys, we have a new chip that is inside of that dock that is definitely capable of handling the upscaling process to 4K, or at least a 4K output. While it's not, really for sure known if Nintendo could do some type of DLSS style upscaling from this dock directly, at the very least, we know that the port itself can actually handle this due to a chip that is registered with the following model number, that is RTD2172N. And there's also another chip that has that same model, but with a U on the end of it. And while I really want to hear from data miners who can dive into these things to tell us exactly what these chips are capable of, at the very least, we know that a 4K 60 output is completely possible through this port. And in fact, the cable that Nintendo ships with it is an HDMI 2.0 cable, which clearly supports 4K 60. And that's the benchmark you would want to have if you have 4K running on a console, as technically the 1.4 cable could have actually run 4K, but you can only do it up to 30 frames per second, not 60. And we do know that for console games, especially in docked mode, you always have certain ones that'll run at 60 frames per second and certain ones that'll run at 30. So you need to at least have that benchmark up to 60 to really be effective at marketing 4K on the Switch. Now, you have to have the conversation around, what does this mean? Does this mean the OLED is going to upscale to 4K? I would say that is a most likely big no, as Nintendo, from their marketing perspective, would have wanted to ship Switch OLED with a 4K logo on the box, as it's just something that, sells well as far as catching the regular consumer's eye, as they know the Switch is now 4K capable, and that would have been a big reason for existing users to upgrade, and that did not happen. Now, the big talking point around this dock supporting this is that it's most likely just pointing to what Nintendo is planning in the future, and there's a couple different ways they could go here. We recently had the patents drop that obviously state that they are working on upscaling technology of their own. Those are official registered patents that are in the books, and that was actually back in March of 2020. So, it's possible that the OLED was supposed to be the 4K Switch, and because of the chip shortage, Nintendo decided to hold out and just give us a upgraded display for now, and they'll do another 4K revision later. Or this could be all for down the road work, as Nintendo's R&D department is always going to be working on the future iterations of next gen consoles, and maybe this is saved for a Switch 2. Or a big and very interesting talking point is the fact that we could see Nintendo maybe pivot to something like selling the Switch standalone and maybe doing annual or biannual upgrades to this console, as they could market it like a portable playing device like it is, such as we see a new Apple phone or a new Samsung Galaxy phone come out just about every single year without fail. It could easily be the same kind of upgrade path for a Switch going forward. And as a gamer, I feel like every year just sounds like too frequent, but you got to realize that the landscape is changing here on how we're going to see consoles move down the line, and Nintendo Switch being the first true hybrid home console and portable console, we could see Nintendo pivot and do something brand new here that we have not traditionally seen gaming companies do. And Nintendo is good at being a trailblazer and trying new stuff. So whether or not that means we will get a 4K revision sooner rather than later, and maybe even sold standalone and without a dock, and maybe the dock is just an optional piece of the retail packaging, like that is all up for debate and speculation. But at this point in the video, guys, I really want to hear your thoughts and opinions on all of this information that we covered today. Again, share with me your thoughts and opinions around Sora and the Kingdom Hearts announcements. And then also, what do you just think about this 4K capable dock, as we now know it is going to be able to support it? But do you think it means anything, or do you think that this is simply like Nintendo maybe only had access to these newer parts, and so that's the reason that they're in the dock, and these extra chips mean nothing, and the firmware upgrade button that was added in through the recent software upgrade also means nothing? Like, I would really love to hear your opinions, whether you are on the fence that you think that Nintendo is working on 4K in the future, or if you think that they're not. So make sure you share all your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below before you do leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do, at this point in the video, want to invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.